Alright, so we've gone over like the system overview, we've gone over like desktop, server, cloud, mobile, right? Now what we're going to do is kind of refresh on the system overview and make sure that we can design systems, right? So we've got some design exercises that we should go through. So, next, what a system design challenge is, the first thing you need to do is go to the system calculator. You can access the system calculator at MyNX. You go to MyNX, you click on Tools, right, and you go to System Calculator, and then take me to the calculator. There's a basic training video here that kind of explains it, but in general, what you want to do is add cameras, calculate your storage and network requirements, and then create a shareable PDF. That's kind of the purpose of this thing. So if we go to the calculator, it's a pretty simple, straightforward tool. At the beginning, you have your project details. So your first challenge is a single small site, 16 cameras, 4K resolution for all the cameras, 30 frames per second. Storage requirement is 30 days. There's no RAID, and failover is required. Okay, so you guys at the calculator? Mm-hmm. Alright, so name your project single system design challenge, or whatever you want to call it. Today is the date. The date is today. It's created by you. Put in your email address. And then we have a thing that says total number of cameras. Since we know it's 16, right, you can just copy and paste in the information from the presentation for the requirements. So let's go number of cameras, blah, blah, blah. So we're going to slap that in the camera, in the project description. Alright. So after you've got the getting started information, you go to add camera step. In the add camera step, you would basically put in the name of the camera, the model of the camera, select the resolution, the codec, the quality, what you're planning on recording at and everything, okay? So for the name of the camera, just put generic 4K IP camera. Why not? Under resolution, you're going to want to go, since we don't have 4K listed in here right now, you want to go something similar, which I think is like 8 megapixels, 3240 by 2160. We go 5 megapixel. Pick a 5 megapixel camera. We try and keep this thing updated, but it's hard to keep updated all the time. 4K is one of those resolutions that's a little bit strange. Most people have megapixels. So we're going to go with 5 megapixel cameras instead of 4K. 30 FPS, right? Codec should be H.264. Quality should be, I always like to use medium because it's the highest quality for the lowest bit rate. Under record, remember we have motion, we have the low res stream, and we have the high res stream. So if you're recording both of those streams, always you just leave this on always. If you're setting up the camera to be motion only, you can do motion. If you're setting it up to be motion plus low res, you can do motion plus low res. Totally up to you. You can record both streams or just the high res stream. We're going to do both, right? And the number of days to record here should be 30. And the quantity of cameras, since they're all the same, to make it easy, 16, right? So what you should see now is you got 16 cameras with a required bit rate of 82.51 megabits per second and a required storage of 28.05 terabytes. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Yeah?
Yes, I got 29.98 terabytes.
Alright, you'll notice something here in the info. It says secondary stream of camera is always being recorded with a rate of 7 frames per second. That's the default. The next thing you do is click on the Add Servers button. Okay, there's two ways to do this. One is you can manually add servers until everything goes green. And the alternative is that you can do automatic server suggestions. So we're going to do automatic server suggestions. That's what I like to do. So click on automatic server suggestions, and then it will ask you a few questions. What form factors would you like to use for system servers? We're going to say something you rack mount, right? It just means something that's going to be rack mounted. 1U, 2U, 3U, whatever it may be. What is the maximum number of cameras needed per server? Well, if you recall, I said to build your server for failover. So build your systems for failover. So my recommendation here would be to do 8 per server, because then you'll have 2 servers at least. And then what is the maximum number of hard drives per server? I wouldn't worry about that with the this is automatic configuration. I think it's grayed out right now. You don't even need to suggest it. What size hard drives would you like to use? Well, it depends on what you buy. I'm going to go with 4 TB because that's the most common one out there at the moment. Is RAID configuration required? No, no RAID, so don't worry about that. Failover is required, and in most cases you'll have the servers host a client as well as the desktop application. So once you've got those right, you press calculate servers. And if you're like me, it's giving you 3 servers. Is that right?
Yeah.
And it's split 5, 5, and 5, right?
5, 6, 5.
5, 6, 5.
Yeah.
So I would actually go back in. Now you can modify this, right? I know I only need 2 servers, so I'm gonna get rid of one of those servers. But when I do that, what you'll see is the cameras that are assigned is wrong, and the storage is wrong. So I'm gonna put in a maximum hard drives here of 4 drives instead of 3. Right? I'm going to take the cameras and I'm going to make sure I assign 8 of them to one and 8 of them to another. Right? So 8 on server 1, 8 on server 2. Right? If you click the try auto, it'll automatically assign them. And then press OK. Right? So as long as your numbers are all blue or green, you're good to go to the next step. So I've got 2 servers. They're both Core i5s. Actually, don't need that. I can take it down a bit to Intel. I don't think that'll be a problem. So I can adjust the processor here to be Atom processors because I know that 8 cameras on a Atom processor is no big deal, right? I got 16 terabytes. Requires 14 of the 16. My average bit rate on each server is 41.3 megabits per second out of a gigabit NIC connection, right? So everything looks good, everything's green. You look below, you'll see the minimum requirements, and then below that, actually, you know what, we're gonna have to do one of these as a Core i3 because it needs to run the client. So we're gonna switch them to Core i3s. Minimum requirements for computer: run the client application. Failover: any one of 2 systems can fail, so the system is 50% redundant. And during failover, remaining servers will use more disk space. So during failover, if you design the system to have just enough storage for the cameras that are on each server, you're going to have a shorter storage duration whenever failover occurs, right? Until you bring one of those servers back online because that storage is offline. So you can either add more hard drives to a server to both servers to make sure that in the failover event you still have enough to record, or you can just deal with the consequences and get that server replaced quickly and not have any lost video because you've got 14 out of 16 terabytes. You got 2 extra terabytes per server to deal with. When you're done, right, you can go to create report, and what you'll see is all the information has been brought back together into one, right? So now this is how the report's going to look. So if I click on the I agree to the privacy policy, which is a link that tells you how privacy works, just for your information, this information is not shared anywhere. This is for you guys out there. You can send it to us if you want us to talk to you about a project, but this is yours. And then click send report. And then your report's going to be sent to you. Did you guys get the email?
Mm-hmm. PDF file.
Yeah?
Yes.
Alright, so I've got it as well. So if I open up that report, this is what it looks like in an email format. You can see I've got the same exact thing that was written on the web, only now it's in a nice unbranded PDF, which you can add to a proposal or other file. So that's how you design a single site system. So you basically have two servers here with storage set up on them, right? All right, try the next design challenge on your own. So this is a multi-site project. You've got 4 different sites. Each of them have different amounts of cameras. You guys go ahead and do it over there. Tell me what you get, and I'll do it over here. All right. So you guys at home can do the same thing. So for the first site, you got 32 cameras, 1080p, right? So I would start off with that. Set the primary storage, 30 duration, 30 days. Codex H.264, medium quality, always. Both streams, number of cameras, 32, right? Gonna add another one here. 1080p cameras again, same settings, only now there's 48 of them. Show you guys what I'm doing here. So site 1, site 2, site 3, site 4. And got 32, 48, 24, and 30. 32, 48, 24, and 30. So a total of 134 cameras and 126.85 terabytes. Now, when I go to, oh, one thing got red on this, so that means I got something that doesn't match. 134 cameras, right? 1080p, 30 days, right? Failover required. And this is my multi-site. Alright, so add cameras. When you're ready, you can go to servers. Okay, so you got 4 different sites, right?
Yeah.
You can do automatic server suggestions, right? If you do automatic server suggestions, it's going to figure it out based off of what you got right now. So you can go ahead and do that. What you're probably going to see is 3 servers pop up, right? The assumption here is that all of the cameras that you've added are on the same site. Okay? That ain't exactly true, right? We know that they're on 3 different sites. So like I said earlier, we would want to put 2 servers per site, right? So what we can do here is clear those, grab site 1 cameras, and then put them onto server 1, and then add maybe half of them there. Right, so there's 32. Oops, sorry. 16 cameras there. On server 2, I can then add the following 16 cameras for site 1. For server 3, I can move over site 2 cameras, and since there's 48, I'll put 24 on one, then I'll put 24 on the next one. On server 5, I'm going to put site 3. Am I doing this right? I have 4 sites. I need 8 servers. My bad. See? Not right. So 8 servers, 4 sites. Let's do that again. Cameras 16, 16, 24, 24. Server 5. Gonna add 12. On server 6, I'm gonna add 12. On server 7, I'm gonna add 15 cameras. And on server 8, I'm gonna put 15 cameras as well. So all my cameras are clear now and everything's been assigned, right? All right, press OK. Servers can always deal with 128, so don't worry about that. So you can see I got 15 terabytes out of 44 terabytes. So I require 15 terabytes. This one's got 11 hard drives per server. That's completely wrong, right? So we're going to put 4 hard drives in, and 4 hard drives there. So now I've got 16 terabytes for those two. Got 22 required for that one. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to use 6 terabyte drives. I'm going to change that to a maximum of 4 as well. 6 terabytes. So I got 22 out of 24. 11.4 out of 44. And the next one I'm going to go 4 terabyte drives. I'm going to put 4 in there. Sorry, 11 terabytes. Put 3 in each one of those. And then 14 out of 16. So I'm going to put 4 and 4. So, got 136 terabytes of total available storage, 126.8 of recommended. My server bit rate with 134 1080p cameras is 373 megabits per second. Obviously, that's going to be split up amongst 4 sites, so you're really talking about like a lot less in terms of the amount that's going to be used. So as long as you have a gigabit NIC, you're going to be good, right? The server's also set up so that each one of these has a failover. So even though it says right now any 6 of 8 servers can fail, these are all on separate networks and separate locations. So in reality, you can either do this for each site, or you can do it all as one system. And then you can just tell the customers that this is actually 50% redundant because you've only got 2 servers at each site. So that's one way of doing it, right? So what do you guys do? Same way?
Still tweaking it, but...
Still tweaking it?
Just kind of figuring out different ways to do it.
Basically, the key is make everything go blue. Make sure you've considered like multi-site stuff. In general, it's best to plan each one of these reports for each site you're doing just to make sure that the networking usage is correct.
That's what I would.
Right. But you can combine them all into one if you're just looking at raw numbers in terms of the amount of storage and everything that you need. So it's really up to you, the integrator or the end user who's creating this report. That's how you get it done. And then when you're done, you can go to Share Report, and it's going to do the same thing. It's going to tell you the server that you have, recommended CPU, RAM, hard drive size, number of cameras assigned to each one. You can see each camera, each server, and the cameras that are assigned to it, the required bit rates, the required storage for each server in the system. Cool?
Yeah.
All right. Final. Wait, is it final design? Yeah, final design challenge. This one's more fun. So 1,000 cameras, a 1,000 camera campus project. So think about like Apple's spaceship, right? Or like an airport, right? Or like Microsoft campus up in Redmond, right? So 1,000 cameras is the requirement. We put 1,000 in the camera count, total camera count. Big system design challenge. So for 1,000 4K cameras, this should be interesting. Running at 30 frames per second for 30 days with automatic failover. Right? So here we go. So we're going to get rid of this. We're going to go resolution again, 5 megapixelish, right? Go to add cameras. Quantity is 1,000. Ooh, we broke it.
Yeah.
Look at that. Alright, so I guess we're going to have to do 10 times 100. Right?
The maximum is 900.
Maximum is 900, you said? I have never tried to break the thing that way.
Yeah,
999 or 900? You know what? I'll do 101. 999?
Yeah.
So I'll do 901 and 1,000 or 100 in the other one. But you can see I'm going to need 1.7 petabytes of storage. I'm going to need a 10 gig network to be able to handle all this, because right now it's running at 5 gigs with 4K cameras pretty much. So I'm going to need a 10 gig network. I'm going to need 1.7 petabytes of storage. Right, so if we go to add servers here, right, and we go to automatic server suggestions again, right, we go 128 cameras max per server. I'm going to use 8 TB drives because I'm assuming that my density of storage needs to be very high. And I'm not going to require RAID. And since I've got so many servers that is going to go in here, I'll leave failover is required. Sure, why not? Because we can always take servers away. One of the system servers will host client, sure. So if you calculate servers here, right, it has given me 9 servers, right?
Yeah.
9 servers, each of them with 25 hard drives. Now, I don't think that that server exists out there with 25 hard drives. It probably does, honestly. But let's go something more reasonable, like a 12 drive. So if I go back and I change all these to 12, right? You can see it's trying to put 100, 200 terabytes on each server. And that ain't really going to work, is it? So let's go in there and change that. And then let's add some. Let's add one. Server 10. Let's add another one. Server 12, 13, 14. Let's get try auto, clear, try auto. Okay. If I split it up over 14 servers and run it again, I'm still at 94.7 out of 96 terabytes of storage. So I'm going to need to add, let's say, 2 more servers. So now I got 16 servers. Go to cams, clear it, try auto, press OK again. And now I'm 94.7 out of 94.7 out of 96. It says I've only got 864 cameras assigned. It's 54 cameras per server plus 74. So it's calculating 58, 54 servers. Well, you know what? Let's add some more servers. I'm going to go 20 servers. Why not?
Yeah, I've got 22 on mine for 999.
So I'm at 20 servers. I'm running 87.6 terabytes out of 96 terabytes in terms of storage. There's 23U, 12 hard drives per server. I've got 20 servers. Okay. Everything's in the green. So bit rate's 257 megabits per second. One thing to think about, your read-write speeds on your computer are determined at the hard drive level by the throughput of the bus on the drive. And that, for all intents and purposes, is 300 megabits per second. So if you're approaching 300 megabits per second, what you're really saying is you're approaching the maximum throughput of the SATA speed, a normal SATA speed. That being said, sorry, the bus on the hard on the motherboard. That being said, some of the modern servers out there have higher read-write speeds, especially if you're using like a storage card. So check with your hardware manufacturer to see what your maximum bit rate is for a read-write speed, right? So dual NICs for all of them. We recommend dual power supplies in a project like this as well, because power supplies and fans, the two things that fail the most on server hardware and computing hardware. But the interesting thing is this system is 60% redundant, so any 12 of the 20 servers can fail, and the system will still stay up and running. It won't be recording as long, the duration won't be as long, but it will stay up and running. So you could literally lose more than half your servers in the system and still have a functioning system with the server hive. So then you would generate that report and send it to yourself. You can see this gets more and more detailed as you get into larger projects, but it's pretty simple overall to plan a project, at least roughly, using the system calculator. You guys have any questions about the system calculator?
No.
You recall like show the cost, how much it is costing with this kind of.
Well, we can't show you cost because we don't know what hardware you're using, right? We don't know what licenses you're using,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So this is more for planning the throughput, the bandwidth, the storage you need, like making sure you have enough networking and storage and computing hardware.
No, like
Right.
for RAMgate last year, like that would have completely messed everything up.
Yep, RAMgate would mess a lot of things up. So those are the design challenges. If you've got projects out there, please by all means use the system calculator to help you get started. If you've got questions, let us know.
Yeah.
System calculator.